Friday saw a momentous drug bust. Police got the pilots, the cocaine cargo, and the plane. But what about the aviation fuel? We had the tough questions, but did police have the answers? And we'll take you to Kika, where islanders protested today. They say the government is trying to take their police station land. Also, the contraceptive controversy rages as the Ministry of Health and Wellness faces massive blowback from its prescription policy. Tonight, you'll hear their side of the story. Plus, we'll have the inspiring story of Paul Lopez, the second U.S. Air Force fighter pilot with Dangriga roots. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Monday, April 13th, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Crack.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
At Cellular World, we believe technology shouldn't just be functional. It should make your home uniquely yours. Design your smart home with the full range of Samsung appliances and TVs. Equip your kitchen with smart and stylish fridges, advanced microwaves, and whisper-quiet dishwashers, bringing smart living to the heart of your home. Make daily tasks simple with efficient smart washers, powerful dryers, or an all-in-one laundry hub that adapts to your lifestyle. Experience true-to-life colors and spot-on sound with the Samsung Q LED Smart TV. Connect all your spaces instantly with the Smart Thing app for seamless control wherever you go. Get all your Samsung products today with the peace of mind that only the 1-year warranty from the authorized distributor can give you. So stop by your favorite location and start designing your smart home today. Only at Cellular World.
In Belize, some things aren't explained. They're passed down. Not because they're tradition, but because they've proven they work. When you work hard for what you have, you learn to protect it. And when the time comes, you pass that responsibility forward. Every generation faces new beginnings, but the choices that matter most are built on trust. For decades, Belizean families have relied on one place to protect their homes, their vehicles, and the lives they're building. When trust is passed down, you know it's been earned. For Belizean families, that trust has a name. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
I didn't know anything about honey or bees. I was really awed when I opened the hive box and I saw that there was just not bees. There is wax, there is propolis, there is pollen, there is the entire education of what is going on inside the hive. And I was like, how come nobody in Belize have ever done this before?
The farm produces 75% of what we consume. We were introduced to instant coffee. So we're growing our own food, but we're drinking instant coffee. So I said, it's time to introduce our own coffee as part of our food security.
My brother, he used to work at a butterfly farm, and he was in charge of breeding them. One day, when he was in the butterfly cage, he saw that they die naturally, and they still look beautiful. And that is when he got the idea to make the butterfly art collages.
I used to do cakes from home. I started just giving them away, but I needed to buy my stuff back, and I started selling them. So that's what started it, and I used Facebook as my means of advertisement and started getting customers.
I've always been fascinated with gemstones. It's been something that I've been collecting for more than a decade. It's just the fascination of how they come out from the earth, just different minerals and elements that combine. They just form these beautiful colors, and it's so fascinating.
Nokche Adventure Park came about from the birth of COVID. Everything was shut down in the tourism industry, and we decided, I want to do something to help the community. We got 10 bikes, 10 ATVs, and we were just doing just ATV tours at that time. Shortly after, we were approached by the cruise lines. We agreed to work with them, and from then it just started growing.
The adjacent communities have collaborated together to see how they can get a space here that the wood carvers could actually market and sell their product. My husband is a woodworker. He attended the meeting. He was given a space here, and that's how basically I got involved in the business.
To me, Atlantic Bank was the best partner for us to team up with.
Having access to financing, change of business in productivity.
Once I had Atlantic Bank support with the finances, it was smooth sailing from there.
They saw the vision and they were willing to be patient.
Atlantic Bank's e-commerce system has accelerated the growth for my business.
Now I can make payments and receive payments online, and this has made my job much easier.
I don't have to run to town and use fuel and, the other expenses.
They were willing to be patient with us as we grew our business, and that meant the world.
I sit and sip my good cup of coffee and do payments.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. And everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Belize is leveling up. We're moving from a bunch of IDs in endless forms to one secure, smart way to prove who you are. The National ID will give you your own unique number, a protected population register, and faster verification, so things actually get done quicker. It's built with privacy, transparency, and inclusion because this system is for everyone. Have something to say? Join the public consultation.
Hi, I'm Ava.
And I'm Aiden. We're your AI guides to all things NHI.
In this video, we will guide you on how to become an NHI member. You, and if you have a child, must have a Social Security card. To get an SSB card is easy. Visit socialsecurity.org.bz/card-replacement to view the required documents that are needed.
There is a fee of only $5 Belize for a first-time issue and $26 Belize for a replacement card. Newborns can use their mother's SSB card for up to 2 months.
With your SSB card, you and all family members can register at any NHI contracted clinic of your choice.
You and members of your family can now access health care when needed.
Please note that once you are registered with a clinic, you must go to that same clinic when you need medical care. Look out for more NHI guides like this.
In Belize, change is taking shape every day. It all starts with Game Changers. Investing in modern transport, better health infrastructure, renewable power for all, digital transformation, and more opportunities for a brighter future, the European Union's Global Gateway Initiative is unlocking new potential. Game Changers are bringing this to life. Game Changers, empowering the future. Follow the EU in Belize to meet the Game Changers.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
At Cellular World, we believe technology shouldn't just be functional. It should make your home uniquely yours. Design your smart home with the full range of Samsung appliances and TVs. Equip your kitchen with smart and stylish fridges, advanced microwaves, and whisper-quiet dishwashers, bringing smart living to the heart of your home. Make daily tasks simple with efficient smart washers, powerful dryers, or an all-in-one laundry hub that adapts to your lifestyle. Experience true-to-life colors and spot-on sound with the Samsung Q LED Smart TV. Connect all your spaces instantly with the Smart Thing app for seamless control wherever you go. Get all your Samsung products today with the peace of mind that only the 1-year warranty from the authorized distributor can give you. So stop by your favorite location and start designing your smart home today. Only at Cellular World.
In Belize, some things aren't explained. They're passed down. Not because they're tradition, but because they've proven they work. When you work hard for what you have, you learn to protect it. And when the time comes, you pass that responsibility forward. Every generation faces new beginnings, but the choices that matter most are built on trust. For decades, Belizean families have relied on one place to protect their homes, their vehicles, and the lives they're building. When trust is passed down, you know it's been earned. For Belizean families, that trust has a name. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
I didn't know anything about honey or bees. I was really odd when I opened the hive box and I saw that there was just not bees. There is wax, there is propolis, there is pollen, there is the entire education of what is going on inside the hive. And I was like, how come nobody in Belize have ever done this before?
The farm produces 75% of what we consume. We were introduced to instant coffee, so we're growing our own food, but we're drinking instant coffee. So I said, it's time to introduce our own coffee as part of our food security.
My brother, he used to work at a butterfly farm, and he was in charge of breeding them. One day, when he was in the butterfly cage, he saw that they die naturally, and they still look beautiful. And that is when he got the idea to make the butterfly art collages.
I used to do cakes from home. I started just giving them away, but I needed to buy my stuff back, and I started selling them. So that's what started it, and I used Facebook as my means of advertisement and started getting customers.
I've always been fascinated with gemstones. It's been something that I've been collecting for more than a decade. It's just the fascination of how they come out from the earth, just different minerals and elements that combine. They just form these beautiful colors, and it's so fascinating.
Nokche Adventure Park came about on the birth of COVID. Everything was shut down in the tourism industry, and we decided, I want to do something to help the community. We got 10 bikes, 10 ATVs, and we were just doing just ATV tours at that time. Shortly after, we were approached by the cruise lines. We agreed to work with them, and from then it just started growing.
The adjacent communities have collaborated together to see how they can get a space here that the wood carvers could actually market and sell their product. My husband is a woodworker. He attended the meeting. He was given a space here, and that's how basically I got involved in the business.
To me, Atlantic Bank was the best partner for us to team up with.
Having access to financing, change of business in productivity.
Once I had Atlantic Bank support with the finances, it was smooth sailing from there.
They saw the vision and they were willing to be patient.
Atlantic Bank's e-commerce system has accelerated the growth for my business.
Now I can make payments and receive payments online, and this has made my job much easier.
I don't have to run to town and use fuel and, the other expenses.
They were willing to be patient with us as we grew our business. and that meant the world.
I sit and sip my good cup of coffee and do payments.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, Belizean law enforcement should be patting themselves on the back. They collaborated on a major drug plane interdiction on Friday evening where they secured everything: the drug plane, the cocaine cargo, the pilots. They missed only one thing: the aviation fuel, which ended up burnt. But tonight, we still can't say by whom. Now, from experience reporting on these plane landings, we know that law enforcement being right on the spot where the plane lands is exceptionally rare. So was it good fortune or just incredible multi-agency cooperation, including the Mexicans and the Americans? If you believe in the plain good luck theory, the customs discovery of the aviation earlier in the day may have been pivotal because it might have clearly suggested where the aircraft would land. But according to the Compol, it wasn't luck, it was teamwork.
Our successful operation today indicate that, Belize is not a transit route for illegal drugs. We have the intelligence, we have the partnership, we have the capability to detect, to track, and intercept. So we have the capabilities.
How have our U.S. counterparts responded to this successful bust?
Well, they have been a partner for us. They have been a partner throughout from the initial interception to the conclusion of the arrest. So they have been a supporting agency. It was first located in the Pacific by the U.S. and it was then communicated to JOIAC.
And one element that was likely of great assistance to law enforcement is that the ground crew could not communicate with the pilot. The signals were jammed. Rosado explained.
Whenever a declaration is made for an illicit truck, all the law enforcement agencies, all the security forces agencies, the operational units directly engage and automatically report to the JOIAC for coordination. And that includes the custom department.
Yeah, but a lot of them in the run, no fault up there. Like chicken without head because, we don't know if that blue crick, you don't know if that cookie.
This is the first time you are seeing perfect coordination from the security forces, the law enforcement agency. So we are working in unison, we are coordinating operations.
But is it just serendipity? Because customs happened upon these people in that area.
Certainly, you would like to attribute it to serendipity, to luck, to fortune, and not the consequence of security forces and law enforcement working together. But I regret to inform you, Mr. Vasquez, that it is indeed a product of security services working together. As Commissioner Rosado has stated, whenever a truck is declared, there are several standard operating procedures that are put into place, and that touches and concerns all law enforcement and security services agencies. There are areas of interest countrywide that are dispatched, or persons are deployed and dispatched to those areas to conduct recognizance of the activities to be able to further inform, because whilst we may suspect that it may land in Belize, unfortunately there are more than one locations, and we have to be prepared to adequately respond to whichever of those locations it is.
And at that press conference today, the commanders of the BDF and Coast Guard sat beside the Commissioner of Police to explain the rare coordination that produced this bust. Jaleesa Roberts has a recap.
A joint law enforcement operation in the Newland area of Curzal District on Friday evening resulted in a major cocaine bust of about half a ton, as well as a Cessna 206 plane and pilots that brought it. Police say the track came along the Pacific coast of Central America.
The operation began approximately 10:36 a.m. when the United States Interagency Task Force South detected an unidentified aircraft over the Pacific Ocean, southwest of San Jose, Costa Rica. 4 minutes later, the aircraft was declared an air track of interest. At 10:45 a.m., the Belize Joint Operations Center commenced active monitoring, and law enforcement officers and the other security services personnel were deployed across the country at identify area of interest to monitor the activities in those areas. This decision proved critical for us and effective since at approximately 1:50 p.m., a custom enforcement team operating in Newland Village, Corozal District, encountered a SUV parked near the coastline. The vehicle was occupied by 2 Belizean nationals and 1 Mexican national. And inside the vehicle, officers discovered 9 canisters of suspected aviation fuel, a firearm, and a satellite phone. These were clear indicators that the Newland Village was the intended landing site of the aircraft. Over the next few hours, the aircraft moved northwards, changing direction multiple times towards El Salvador, then Nicaragua, and then Honduras. By 2:40 p.m., the aircraft was estimated to be just over 1 hour from entering Belize airspace. By this time, the operational focus had already been mobilized and strategically deployed in Newland. At 5:03 p.m., airspace clearance was granted and the Belize Defense Force deployed their air asset. At 5:10 p.m., the Mexican air asset were also granted permission to enter Belize airspace to support our operation. At 5:21 p.m., Belize primary radar confirmed contact with the suspected aircraft, approximately 6 nautical miles east of Carmelita Village, heading northeast. At 6:14 p.m., the aircraft landed in Newland Village. Observed deplaning were 2 Hispanic male persons, later identified as Paul Valenzuela Usana and Edgar Aguilar Trinidad, both Mexican national. A search of the aircraft revealed multiple bales of suspected cocaine wrapped in plastic. Also intercepted at the landing site was a Chevrolet Suburban SUV occupied by 2 Belizean nationals. That vehicle has since been impounded as the investigation continues.
Authorities were able to recover 535 parcels of suspected cocaine with an estimated street value of $11,027,800 Belize dollars. It's a law enforcement tour de force, but was it largely good fortune? Earlier that day, Customs Enforcement stumbled upon a stash of aviation fuel in an SUV, a gun, and a satellite phone. Somehow, the vehicle was later found burnt. The Commissioner of Police said that law enforcement were not the ones who burned the vehicle, but he was still vague.
I want to add, as it relates to the narrative, that it was law enforcement that burnt the SUV that contained the suspected aviation. That is not so. As I have indicated, it was Custom Enforcement team that made the interception, and given the circumstances that was at hand at the time, which I will not get into the specifics, it was prudent for the custom officers to withdraw.
The important thing is that the vehicle was processed in terms of the fact that scenes of crime technicians would have processed it and retrieved items of evidential value. Photographs were taken and further processing will be conducted Indeed, it would have been ideal to have all of those items, but we are of the view that notwithstanding that the items in terms of the aviation fluid was destroyed, it will not detract from us being able to put forward some evidential material in the intended prosecution. Commissioner indicated that the burning did not occur by law enforcement officials, Mr. Lopez. The situation at hand, which we will not get into the specifics of, it was prudent for the team of custom officers to withdraw. It was when they withdrew that we suppose the burning was conducted. However, as I stated, notwithstanding this, we have ensured that we have retrieved items of evidential value that will be of assistance to the intended prosecution of the matter.
Indeed, the custom officers were the first one when the vehicle was discovered. Certain things happened on the ground that require them to retreat. They then retreat, and we send additional support from the security forces. When they return, the vehicle was on fire.
The BDF commander, as well as the Rear Admiral of the Coast Guard, discussed the circumstances of the landing.
Yes, there is still extra fuel within the aircraft as of the point where we examined it. So the aircraft still had enough fuel to probably fly somewhere else if it chose to when it landed. Okay, it wasn't a case where there was a forced emergency landing at all.
As you're aware, this was a multi-domain approach to this intercept, both as relates to land, air, and sea. As the Coast Guard, we provided the maritime component to this operation. As the Commissioner alluded to, this is an area that is in close proximity to our coastline. It's an area that we are familiar with, and so we were able to respond quickly when called upon for support by the police department. So as the Coast Guard, we provided that maritime component, that waterborne component to this operation to ensure that if there were any movements by sea or any movements through the maritime space, we would have been positioned and postured to do an intercept by sea. So the interagency collaboration really demonstrated that it is a mechanism that works. There was the communication between the Coast Guard, the Belize Defense Force, and the police department was one where, in the end, we were able to make that intercept.
For now, both Mexican pilots, Edgar Aguilar and Paul Valenzuela, have been charged and have been remanded to the Belize Central Prison. Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
And in the middle of the bus, 2 Belizeans and a Mexican were found near the scene with aviation fuel. But today, the Compol indicated that the Belizeans have been released based on insufficient evidence.
What happened to the Belizean and the other Mexican who were found in proximity to the aviation fuel?
I need to add that based on the availability of evidence and the directive of the Director of Public Prosecution, there was insufficient evidence to charge the 2 Belizean national. However, they remain persons of interest and the investigation continues.
We'll take a break now. We have much more news ahead. Kika residents protested today. They say government is trying to take their police station land. Also, the contraceptive controversy rages as the Ministry of Health and Wellness faces massive blowback for its prescription policy. Plus, later on, we'll have the inspiring story of Paul Lopez II, the U.S. Air Force fighter pilot with Dangri Garoots. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
When the job calls, you need a truck that works as hard as you do. Strong, reliable, and built for the load.
The Jack Freight Truck gets the job done. From the lumberyard to the work site, power your business with confidence. I can count on Jack to get the job done right.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
People don't travel with cash anymore. People would stop and they want to do a coffee tour, they want to buy coffee, but people don't have cash with them. Online banking facilitated a lot of what we do. I don't have to run to town and I have to use fuel and other expenses. Atlantic Bank actually approached us. They facilitated us with a bank account, which is something that we didn't have in hand, and then with a POS machine. I sit and sip my good cup of coffee and do payments.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
The roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, ensuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, ensuring you from life's unexpected.
What happens when one person decides to make a change? In communities across Belize, we're seeing the answer.
Hi, I'm Kayla Linares. I love being outside and surrounded by nature. When I heard about the national cleanup, I signed up right away. I don't litter, and I help clean up Belize, one piece of trash at a time.
It starts with one choice, one moment, one step towards something better. Across our beautiful country, everyday heroes are making a difference. In just one day, nearly 2,000 volunteers collected over 40,000 pounds of garbage. From local groups to national partners, Belizeans are uniting to protect what we love. Every cleanup, every piece of properly disposed waste, every conversation, it all creates a ripple effect. But we can't just continue to clean up after everybody's mess. Let's prevent it and be proactive, not reactive. Because remember, our Belize, our responsibility. Bine.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The land was earmarked for the construction of Kika's first fully outfitted police station, but that project is now in limbo. Construction paused and the property was rumored to be on the block to be sold off, leaving residents with deep-seated suspicion that their village property is being monetized for other purposes. What will happen to the proposed police station, which sits on prime beachfront property? Domari Lanza headed to the island today to find out more from a peaceful protest. Here's what the villagers are saying.
The villagers came out in numbers for a peaceful protest in the heart of Kika, demanding answers for what was to have been the construction of a new police station. That project has been halted, and the land rumored to be on the block for sale. And now the villagers won't rest until they know all the details.
We want answers. We're not sure of what's going on. We don't know the truth behind, the rumors. We have to say it's rumors because we don't know if the property was sold or not. And truly all we want is to be engaged. We want to know if it's still ours. We're hoping that it still is. But we would have liked if our area rep or, Minister of Police would have engaged us in some sort of discussion. I mean, we didn't have to get here, but we're not getting answers. And our community demands answers. And if we can't give it to them, then they need to give us some sort of explanation as to what's going on. We have all right to know this is our island. Those properties are public spaces. They belong to the people of Kika, so we really need to know what's going on.
Kika police have since been functioning from a temporary base located in the Bahia area, one that the chairlady says is too small and ill-suited for them. She told us since the project signing occurred in January, they haven't had any contact with the project managers and were simply told that in a year, the station would have been built. But since then, they haven't gotten any progress update.
We had a meeting with Kaibe and a couple of the police department representative, and we were told that the project was in full swing and everything should be ready and completed in a year. So when we saw that the project was halted, that was alarming to us. Then we started to ask questions, we started to hear rumors. And that's when we began to get inquisitive. My deputy heard something and where she heard it from was very credible. So that is what sounded the alarm. But we really didn't know anything until I believe last week, Wednesday. And that's when we started to move. But we demand that we know what's going on with our public spaces.
The villagers say they won't be bullied and won't stay quiet until they find out what's going on.
We are aware that there's some, kind of fishy activity happening, and we're just here to protest the fact that Kika will not take it back lying down, and we're not going to be bullied into losing our prime land. No, the community was not consulted. It was something that the village council had been monitoring since before the Easter break. And, all of this kind of just spilled out after the fact. And now everyone's everyone's very upset. Everyone's very enraged, as they should be. Because, I agree with them. How can you stop a construction that was meant for island security? It's something that we're fighting for and something that our minister promised us, and now look what happened.
And they aren't convinced either that this property isn't worth a rumored $5 million price tag, unless it's of interest to the right person.
That plot is not worth $5 million. It's worth about $1.5–2 million. Where's the other $3 million going?
Being out here today will send a strong message.
I would love to say yes to that, but I'm not sure. I believe if somebody is getting $3 million for their efforts, would they be put off by people protesting, or would they just carry on and take part of the jewel that's here and take it away from the community?
So, truly I want the same thing what the residents of Kika want. Because if this land was given to the Belize Police Department to build police. In fact, if they went and acquired a loan to build this police station, then what happened along the process? Why weren't the people consulted?
Do you really think that property is worth $5 million?
I'm a real estate agent as well, and It depends who's buying it, right? Because it might have value to them, but not to someone else.
And to whom is the question. And today's protest makes it that much harder for any discussed sale to go through. Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
The village council says it is prepared to go to court if necessary. We must stress that as of Friday, when we checked, the land had not been transferred and remains in the government's name. Last week, we told you about 19-year-old Jahil Westby, whose body was found with gunshot wounds in the dike area of Port Loyola. Westby went to that area to fish, but he wasn't alone. He was accompanied by 17-year-old Alwyn Marin. But now Westby is dead and Marin is missing. Police say they're currently searching for him. They also added that Westby's murder may have stemmed from a dispute over a horse.
The investigation commenced on Friday, 10 April at around 6:45 a.m. when a relative of Westby visited the police booth that is located on Central American Boulevard and advised the officers that Westby did not return home over the course of the night, and the last time he was seen was sometime around 3:00 p.m. on Thursday. She further advised that he was in the company of a friend, namely Alwyn Marin. The police officers were also told that he was supposed to be going into the dike area to hunt for iguanas. As a consequence of this, the officers conducted a search in the dike area, and sometime after 8:00 a.m., the unresponsive body of Westby was found and apparent gunshot wounds were observed on his body. The investigation into this incident, as well as the disappearance of Alwyn Marin, continues.
Do you suspect that Mr. Marin had something to do with Mr. Westby's death?
We are not in a position to form any conclusion. We are seeking Mr. Marin. Several efforts have been made and those have proved fruitless, so we are urging those members of the general public who may have information in relation to this incident, particularly the murder and also the disappearance of Mr. Marin, to provide us with information. This investigation has proved particularly challenging because the vast area is one of those areas that police cameras are not located. We have since expanded our search to see what, if any, information can be obtained to assist with the investigation.
What does police know about reports suggesting that Mr. Westby's death and Mr. Marin's disappearance has something to do with a feud over horses or a horse?
I had a very brief conversation with the investigators, and they indeed advised me that that is one of the angles that is being explored, that there was some dispute, as you stated, over a horse.
The controversy over contraceptives blew up last Friday on social media. But even prior to that statement from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, they were already cracking down on prescriptions. According to the ministry, laws have been in place but weren't being enforced, and they've been trying to regularize medication. Well, that means a lot of the meds you were getting over the counter will now require a prescription. However, the backlash they've been receiving hasn't just concerned contraceptives, even though that was the boiling point. They've been getting many angry calls from people who can no longer easily access the medication that they've been taking for years. With all the criticism, Director of Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz, conceded today in a virtual press conference that they did not conduct enough consultations.
During the process of updating the OTC list, that's the over-the-counter list, the Ministry of Health and Wellness consulted and informed store owners in every district in Belize, and we also did this update along with the Pharmacy Association of Belize. So we met with them on several occasions as well. However, I can say here that one, we were not aware of the amount of people who go into a pharmacy and purchase prescription medications without a prescription. And two, we did not conduct the number of consultations that we should have to sensitize and to inform the public of the differences between the over-the-counter medication and the importance of getting a prescription for prescription-only medication. A large-scale public health campaign should have been conducted simultaneously with the discussions that we had with store owners and the Pharmacy Association. And this is acknowledged here today.
But then, if doctors, organizations like BFLA, and even the Special Envoy weren't aware of the prescription requirement for contraceptives in particular, then who was actually consulted?
You started off admitting, yes, there was not enough consultation done, but I have to ask, who was consulted before these things were enforced?
So we have been in discussions with the pharmacists to say, please educate your patients. Let them know that these are prescription medications and that these medications, you need to see your doctor. You need to get the refills for these medications. The pharmacists over the last few months have been turning away patients, but that has not been what we have been saying to them. So there has been some misunderstandings as well. And for that reason, we have been over the last 2 weeks in communication with the Pharmacy Association. And they had asked us to please give them a week or two so that they can come up with a proposal for us. And that's why we're meeting later on today to look at their proposals and to see what it is, how it is that we can improve certain things. In terms of BFLA, I don't know what it means, what you mean with regards to BFLA has not been consulted, but BFLA is a clinic. They have doctors and nurses working there. They don't have a table outside on the side of the street giving out contraceptives. The contraceptives at BFLA are given out with a prescription, unless you're talking about advice of abstinence or condoms or the morning after pill. Those things don't need. So when you talk about contraceptives, in our minds, we're thinking about the combined contraceptive, microgynon, but there are other contraceptives that can be given out. So BFLA utilizes their prescription system and they communicate with their patients. They talk to their patients about the potential side effects and the best medication for them, and they do their prescription and they get their drugs.
But while the rage over women's reproductive rights was loud on Facebook, Dr. Diaz didn't see it that way. She emphasized that regarding contraceptives no longer being over the counter, the ministry is not trying to take away anyone's rights, but is allowing women to have what they call informed consent. But still, is this policy that is supposedly centered around helping women actually hurting them? Dr. Diaz spoke to us at length via Zoom, and Courtney Menzies has this story.
It's been 4 days since the Ministry of Health and Wellness issued a Facebook statement announcing that contraceptives will now require a prescription. Over that time, the outcry continued, with many criticizing the ministry for violating women's reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. After a weekend of uncertainty, the Director of Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz, said she doesn't know how that conclusion was drawn.
First of all, it is important for me to clarify here today and to the public that we have not introduced any new regulation. We have not introduced any new law, any new rule regarding medicines. And I am uncertain where the many views on social media over the last week regarding women's rights have surfaced from, and why there is a perception that asking for a prescription equates to the violation of a woman's right. To the contrary, the request for a prescription for contraceptives after having a proper doctor or nurse's consultation ensures that your rights have been fully exercised as you have determined the safest, the most effective, and the best birth control method for you, along with your doctor. You are now an informed and consenting woman. We are exercising that right for you.
Dr. Diaz further explained that this enforcement is for the safety of women who want to take contraceptives.
They want to walk into a pharmacist and buy the contraceptive that they want because perhaps a friend told them that works for them, or their mother might have been on a contraceptive, but how do you really know? And I don't want to lament or to discuss in great detail about side effects of contraceptives. It's more than just a paper or a prescription. It's about what's best suited for you. Because a side effect could be, for example, heavy bleeding when you start your contraceptive, bleeding for about 6 months if you're on certain progesterone contraceptives. You cannot see a period for a year if you're on certain contraceptives. Contraceptives might be different in terms of some women explain to me that they feel severe anxiety, they feel depressed on certain contraceptives, and once we change it to another one, that feeling has changed. So what worked for your friend does not necessarily mean it will work for you.
And while the ministry insists safety is their number one priority, they have not provided data as to how many women face adverse side effects or how many are misusing contraceptives. But Dr. Diaz explained that it's more about having informed consent.
I would want to hear what is the data that you have where you are linking side effects to the actual misuse of contraceptives.
I think when I originally started to talk, I spoke about not wanting to delve on the reason for a prescription is severe side effects. The reason for the prescription is that you have been consulted and you're an informed and consenting woman when it comes to the choice of contraceptive that you utilize. So in terms of side effects, I won't say that they are not significant side effects.
And MOHW isn't considering the enforcement of this regulation a barrier to access, despite the fact that it will now be more difficult for women, particularly those living in poverty, in abusive households, or in rural areas, to get contraceptives. But when asked, Dr. Diaz said she believes the ministry has provided additional access to healthcare services.
You mentioned in the beginning of your statement that you don't know how people can say that it's a violation of rights, and maybe that's a stretch, but you do create a barrier when people have to get from a bus or pay any extra funds for get something where they may get for $10, an easier fashion.
We know about the gaps and we know about the challenges, but as well, you cannot have a hospital in every single village. You cannot have a health center in every single village. And that's why I spoke to you all earlier about it has to be a mutual collaboration. It has to be that the patients, the person out there understand the importance and prioritize health as well and take the time to go in to see their healthcare providers.
Do you feel that you've adequately addressed concerns about long wait times, the rural distance and clinic hours? So a woman who does not get time off during the week at work, how do you help someone like that?
I want to go back to say that I have addressed access, and of course in all our facilities we have 24-hour doctors and nurses for urgencies or emergencies. I have addressed it, and as I said, we will be talking more with you all as the weeks go on.
But Dr. Diaz also added that the ministry will continue to discuss these enforcements to better increase access to contraceptives.
So we will engage in that discussion. That might take a little time, but hopefully we'll be able to get there because we do want patients to be able to access their contraceptive effectively.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
And in response to a post on social media, Dr. Diaz issued a statement emphasizing that, quote, the ministry is not exercising anybody's rights, but helping women to be empowered to exercise those rights. Decisions about contraceptives are personal choices made by individuals in consultation with their healthcare providers. Our role is to support, not decide for anyone, end quote. She said that the statement was taken out of context. Dr. Diaz added that you can get repeat prescriptions, but she also asked the pharmacists to use discretion.
Prescription medication, including contraceptives and chronic disease medicines, can be accessed at any pharmacy countrywide using a refill or a repeat prescription. This has been happening for years. Many women collect 3, 6, or even 12 monthly prescriptions regularly. So I want to really highlight this because there has been a misconception that a woman will have to go monthly to their doctor to get a prescription for their medication. Doctors have always done repeat prescriptions. You can do repeat refills. There are many different ways that you and your doctor could discuss with regards to you getting your prescription. I said from the beginning that we needed to do a more robust public health information campaign. I would like to ask the pharmacists out there to utilize judgment. When a patient comes to you for a repeat prescription, you know your patient, you have seen your patient for months, you have been giving them prescription. Go ahead and dispense the prescription for your patient, because we want people to continue taking their medication and we want people to have access. But we also want that the pharmacist informs the patient of the importance of going back to a doctor, and the pharmacist should also be keeping files on their patients. The responsibility is for all of us.
And when it comes to medication for non-communicable diseases, even if you've been treating one for years, Dr. Diaz explained that it's important to get frequent checkups, which can occur whenever you get a new prescription.
So we're trying to do a lot in public health to prevent NCDs. But what about the persons who already have the NCD? What do we do? It's important that a diagnosis is made by your doctor, because there are certain criteria that you need to make a diagnosis. If you were just in a huge argument and you're stressed out and your blood pressure is borderline, that doesn't mean that you're automatically a hypertensive. There are certain ways that we need to monitor and to look at your blood pressure and make that determination that you're hypertensive. A diabetic as well. If you come in and you have a blood sugar of 350, there are certain criteria that we have to say, yes, this is definitely, you are a diabetic. So your diagnosis is important. And once you're diagnosed and started on medication, the monitoring is key, because diabetes, for example, affects from your head to your toe. It can affect your brain, can cause strokes, depression, thyroid disease, blindness, heart disease, kidney disease, amputation. So diabetes is one of those diseases that we say affects your macrovascular and your microvascular, so your large vessels and your small vessels. Many people have called me over the last week to say, I've been on my medicine for 5 years, now you all want a prescription. So I said, have you been to see a doctor? Have you checked your eyes? Have you checked your heart? No, because I feel good. Well, diabetes and more so hypertension are silent killers. It's not about taking away rights, or it's not about trying to control the population, but we have the mandate to ensure that we have a safe and healthy population. And how do we do that? We need to encourage people to see their doctor for initiation.
So what happens now? Well, Dr. Diaz said that instead of immediate implementation, they will be taking a phased approach, and they will be conducting further consultations.
I would like to also mention that we will do a phased-in approach for general prescription meds, and we're going to give a 12-month phase-in so that we have the opportunity to do the full patient information campaign and to meet with the pharmacists as well, and to get buy-in from all parties that are involved in ensuring that patients can have access to care. I want to make it clear that we're aware of this significant and the importance role that pharmacists play in health. Prescribing has responsibilities, but dispensing is extremely important. And in fact, after this interview, we'll be meeting with the Pharmacy Association to discuss ways forward in terms of how this phased-in approach over the next 12 months, what will be happening and what will be expected after the 12 months. We're also meeting with the Belize Medical and Dental Association to discuss prescription trends and to remind doctors to put the refills. Because the practice has been happening, some doctors might say, oh, you get your medication anyway, I'll treat you for your cough and cold. No, we want you to put on your prescription the amount of refills that you're giving the patient at this time. And also going back to pharmacists, and I know that some pharmacists have reached out to me to say they would like to be trained to dispense contraceptives. So we will engage in that discussion. That might take a little time, but hopefully we'll be able to get there, because we do want patients to be able to access their contraceptive effectively.
Tonight, a family in Ontario Village has lost their home, valued at over $300,000. The elderly owner was woken up close to midnight and needed to hurry out of his home. Jaleesa Roberts went to Ontario and tells us the story.
An 87-year-old man narrowly escaped death last night when the Ontario Village home he had lived in for 73 years went up in flames while he slept. The 4-bedroom house belonged to Miguel Ara, who lived there with his son. We spoke with his brother, who described what it was like watching a lifetime of hard work go up in flames.
They were asleep, and sometime around 11, close to midnight, my brother said he was awoken by his son, because he have a son there, that the house was on fire. So they came out, but they didn't see nothing coming out. So everything was a loss over there. I was still a kid when he lived there. And about 14 years old he was when he moved there. And from then to now, he is 87 now.
So far, there is no indication as to what started the fire, but the family is awaiting the findings of a fire investigation.
So far, we are waiting the fire department to determine what happened, you know. I guess they were so excited or frightened to get out. The damages that you're looking, the house was a 4-bedroom house and a lot of room, storage. About $300,000 the value of that house, and the content in there was about another $30,000. So clothes, nothing, just the one on their back last night.
Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
Anyone who would like to assist this family to get back all they've lost can contact his brother at 623-8854. That's 623-8854. We take a break now. When we come back, a story you won't want to miss. We sit down with a fighter pilot with Belizean roots. He tells us how he went from Holy Ghost primary to flying the U.S. Air Force's most powerful fighter jet.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Believe, a town called Freedom and Mars Production present an event you can't afford to miss.
It's the Belize Music World Festival, Saturday, April 25th, 2026.
At the spacious Marion Jones Stadium. This annual event is geared to give you the very best in music, food, and artistry.
The Belize Music World Festival.
Headlines with two of Reggae World's very best performers. The one and only Mr. Singy himself.
Taurus Riley.
With the very first time in Belize, Reggae Prince of Reggae Royal Family,
Skip Marley.
I just wanna be close to you. With his band. And also featuring on this momentous event is Pen Cayetano with his band. And Jay Cass with his band. Yes, Belize, it's a full-on band show. Also backing up this show is DJ Jago, DJ Console, DJ Cad, DJ Smurf, and Clark, and Rasan Jaro. Firestarter Sound. It's all hosted by DJ Dollar. So mark the date and don't be late. April 25th. Gates open at 7 for showtime at 8 at the Marion Jones Stadium. Ticket prices are bleachers $41. General admission $61. VIP $151. Ultra Boost $2,500. Also available. Cocktail tables for VIP area only. Sponsors are A Town Called Freedom, Mars Production, Monisco, Pelican, Travelers Liquor, BTB, Niche, Channel 5, Channel 7, Love FM, and Love TV, Trim Radio and TV, and Cellular World.
Look here, your kitchen light there and you never in the kitchen. But I'm going back in there right now. And the coffee maker? Just to try keep my coffee warm for later. Where do you know? I'll try to think about what to eat. You know the more you open or close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool. Uh-huh. For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You charge your phone right now? No. Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads? But this is my favorite shirt. You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC, they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
Altoona is one of the most visited Mayan city up until lately. The adjacent communities have collaborated together to see how they can get a space here that the wood carvers could actually market and sell their product. Not having the POS machine in the past, we have lost a lot of sales. Atlantic Bank helps supporting our business, giving us the opportunity to get the POS machine. Now with the POS machine, we are able to do more sales, and that will, also bring more, finance to our families.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, we're speaking to a Belizean with Dangriga roots who achieved an elite accomplishment. Paul Lopez II became a U.S. fighter pilot that is in the Air Force's fastest, most capable jet, the F-22 Raptor. Now, retired Lieutenant Colonel Lopez is a commercial pilot with United Airlines. The 43-year-old first officer arrived in Belize to co-pilot a Saturday morning departure. We caught up with him at the Biltmore, where he shared this inspiring story.
Well, my origins start here in Belize, in Dangriga. That's where both of my parents were born, Cynthia and Paul Lopez. Growing up on foreshore, I actually spent some time. My journey came through Dangriga, where I stayed on foreshore and actually went to Holy Ghost for about a year. So, learning discipline and things there.
After that, Paul Lopez II returned to the place of his birth, Virginia Beach, USA, where his father was in the Navy. That's where jets soaring by from a nearby base set him to dreaming.
We lived near a Navy base, and I would see the Navy jets flying past our house all the time. And that inspired me to be like, wow, those jets look cool. They're flying in formation through the sky.
And after earning a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and completing many specialized military training courses, Lopez became one of the elite fighter pilots in the U.S. Air Force. flying the world's most powerful fighter jet, known as the most dominant air-to-air combat aircraft, the F-22 Raptor.
Is exhilarating. I mean, the hugest adrenaline rush. And not only that, but you're working with a team of elite men and women, elite warfighters who are at the top of their game, flying their premier aircraft in the world, going faster than the speed of sound, which is 10 miles a minute, going upside down, flying around the clouds. And Jean Gillespie wrote a poem called High Flight many years ago. And one of the lines in the poem that I really like is that, you know, you're flying through the untrespassed sanctity of space, and you're up there touching the face of God.
Right.
And it's just amazing.
But while he worked hard and achieved the status of elite fighter pilot, he never let it get to his head.
And being a fighter pilot, usually 3 words you always talk about: being humble, approachable, and credible. If you're humble, approachable, credible, and you show up with a positive attitude every day to learn, like, you are going to be successful because you're going to create a culture around yourself that people want to be a part of. They want to pour into you and invest in you because you're displaying that, hey, I need the team to survive. I'm not greater than the team.
And after 20 years in the Air Force, he retired as a lieutenant colonel and transitioned to being a commercial pilot for United Airlines, which is what brought him to Belize on Friday.
In this journey of life, the fact that I get an opportunity to fly out of the country where my parents are born is just so humbling to me. Looking out the window and seeing just the wilderness of Belize out there, you know, just the raw land in its natural habitat with the rivers flowing through, the lush green like forests and jungles. I'm like, wow, this is where it started. This is part of my family roots.
And while he lives in the clouds, this pilot always has his 2 feet squarely grounded. You keep an awareness of yourself as a first of its kind, or is that something that's really in the background because humility is the first requirement?
Man, that is a fantastic question because conceptually, like, I try to not live looking in the rearview mirror or focus on that, but I walk with humility and I'm just keeping the next goal in mind because my goal is that I don't want to be, if you're the first person to do something and there's no others following behind you, then you're wrong. There should be a trail now, and now like a strategy or a roadmap for others to follow. For me, it's more of from a self-awareness standpoint of, hey, how, when people come in contact with me, like, what do they experience? You know, I don't want them to experience, hey, this person thinks they're the best in the world, or that, you know, they're the first, so they got to be there on a pedestal. No, I'm just a person like anybody else that's fulfilling my passion, living out my dreams.
And he shared his advice for young persons.
You're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. Your ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, your guardians, they sacrificed to get you here and to provide for you. So never give up on yourself. Never stop dreaming. But not only be a dream chaser, be a dream catcher. The way you become a dream catcher is you have to set goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented goals. And because there's a saying that a dream without goals is a wish. So dream those big dreams, chase them, catch them. And when you face adversity, as we all will face adversity, reach out and get the help you need to help you catch that dream. Because I'll tell you that I've caught dreams throughout my life in this journey of life. And when you catch those dreams, like, it is such a peace and a joy that you have that you can accomplish, that you can accomplish anything in the world. So control your mind, be driven, be disciplined, have core values, and build a team around you that's going to push you and power you through that adversity whenever you face it.
Lopez started flying with United in October of last year. A man was killed in a road traffic accident in San Esteban. 21-year-old Zuriel Cruz was knocked off his motorcycle early on Sunday morning. ASP Stacey Smith told us more.
The investigation commenced on Sunday, 12 April 2026 at approximately 4:10 p.m. when Orange Walk police were advised of an RTA on the San Esteban road. The officers responded, and upon their arrival, they observed an injured and unresponsive male person who was later learned to be Zuriel Cruz, 21 years of age. Also observed on the scene of the accident was a damaged motorcycle and a pickup truck, which also showed signs of damage. Cruz was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead sometime around 5:37 p.m. What the ongoing investigation has suggested is that Cruz was on board a motorcycle on the San Andres Road heading towards Orange Walk Town, and a pickup truck was traveling in the opposite direction. The suggestion is that the pickup truck made a left turn onto a dirt road, which caused a collision between the cycle and the pickup truck. The driver of the pickup truck has since been served with a notice of intended prosecution, and a urine sample has been obtained from him.
And a man is recovering after he was shot in Ladyville on Saturday night. ASP Smith told us that one person has been detained so far.
The investigation commenced on Saturday, 11 April 2026 at approximately 9:05 p.m. when officers attached to the Ladyville formation were alerted to the sounds of shots being fired in the vicinity of Paris Road in that village. The officers responded where they met an injured Lionel Logan who suffered an apparent gunshot injury. What we have learned so far is that Logan was walking in an off-road area near Paris Road when he was accosted by two male persons, one of whom brandished a firearm and fired a shot which wounded him. Logan is hospitalized in a critical condition, and police have since detained one male person and are seeking another in connection with the ongoing investigation. No motive has been established thus far in this incident.
Police formally arrested and charged Akeem Ferguson of Ladyville Village for the crimes of attempted murder, use of deadly means of harm, and dangerous harm. On Saturday afternoon, a 53-year-old Belizean American, Yolanda Welch, was robbed of a small fortune in jewelry in the Michael Finnegan Market. The robbers stole two gold necklaces valued at $15,000. ASP Smith told us police were quick to recover them.
I can advise that as a consequence of the investigation into the matter and with the assistance of the Police Fusion Center, we were able to recover both of the jewelry, both chains that were stolen. They were found somewhere in the Precinct 1 jurisdiction, and we also have detained one suspect and are seeking another.
Tonight, a man is in prison after gunplay in a nightclub parking lot. The incident reportedly stemmed from a brawl between two females behind the Shisha nightclub, which led to a transport officer allegedly pulling his gun on another man after he attempted to break up the fight between the women. 33-year-old Ignatius Perafit appeared at the magistrate's court today on a charge of aggravated assault. Perafit is accused of pulling his 9mm duty Luger pistol on 30-year-old Rodney Card Saturday night. Perafit pleaded not guilty but was remanded to prison until Friday, April 17th. He was represented by attorney O.J. Elrington, who maintained that his client is innocent.
So, Ms. Elrington, explain to us what transpired in the case of the transport officer, Mr. Ignatius Perafit, how the charges was withdrawn for firearm offense.
Yes, well, he was charged with aggravated assault for a firearm, and thankfully, the virtual complainant in the matter, he pled not guilty to it, and the virtual complainant in the matter had indicated that in the first instance that he was not interested in pursuing any criminal charges against him. However, he did make a statement for reference. However, the officers exercising their discretion still exercise their discretion to charge him with assault with a firearm. So he appeared before the magistrate this morning, who indicated that she required for both the virtual complainant to come in and as well to get a further statement. We got both of those by this afternoon, and so the magistrate dismissed the matter against him.
And finally, tonight, a Mega Bingo player is over $250,000 richer. We met with the latest winner of the Mega Bingo jackpot, who didn't even want to tell us where he lived. But Mr. Mystery Mega Bingo said he has been buying the same set of numbers since its inception. And now his plans are to spend the money wisely.
I start by Mega Bingo like from the game actually start. But I went on a long pause, start up back again, and ever since, just keep on buying the same ticket. Never did change it. Not every game I buy the ticket, but when I do member, it's Mega Bingo today, then I buy the ticket. The game start playing, then it's like, I'm noticing like the small prizes, I'm like missing them by one. I was like, okay, okay. Then like, I kind of remember the last three numbers, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're like G47. And then we have like 3 to 4 more ball before the 49th ball, if I'm not mistaken, like I said. Then I was like, one more number left. Then for my ticket, I was like, okay, this can't be bad luck. No, this can't be bad luck. You know? And so like, I said, all right. Then she said like 075 when I watched my ticket. I'm like, boy, I got this thing, boy.
How did you feel when you won?
Kind of nervous, a little bit. Kind of walk around my building 2 times, then I calm. Then I was like, all right, cool. It's about time. So I really have no major plans at the moment, but I will just say start up our next house and then bank the rest and just figure it out along the way, Not make no hasty and wild decisions.
How good this coming feel?
Well, it reached good timings now, because then like I could help moms and the ones who look out for me then, and then the ones who don't look out for me could stay up at the state too.
And that's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching With Your News. I'm Indira Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a great night. Join me back here tomorrow at 6.